What's going on, guys? This is another episode here of Nolan's Pod. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was a phenomenal holiday weekend. I hope everybody had a safe weekend and was able to spend time with their loved ones. It was a very, very, very long weekend, but it was a very, very, very great weekend celebrating the holiday, celebrating birthdays. So I hope everybody had a great weekend. But the thing about holidays is sports never stops. Sports never stops. That includes the holidays. Sports is always going to be played on New Year's, Christmas, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, every holiday, Halloween, everything. Sports never stops, and that includes on holidays. Sports is always being played. That never goes away. It's never going to go away. So with that being said, over the holiday weekend, we had some baseball being played. Now, keep in mind, I have not talked about the Braves in probably 2+ months on this podcast because the NBA playoffs went on from April till still going on now, and we're going into June. So we're going to get back to talking about Braves baseball, especially today, especially with the news that happened over the weekend. So baseball was played over this holiday weekend. The Braves and one of our worst fears happened as a Braves fan, that we've already been through it before, and now we're going through it again. Braves All-Star and MVP right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. tore his ACL again. Not the knee that he had surgically repaired in 2021 that he tore, but this time it's the left knee. It was a pickoff throw attempt at second base, and if you could see the play, you knew right then and there he tried to turn back and his knee just buckled up from under him. And you know when you tear something, especially ACL, when you tear an ACL and it's non-contact, meaning you weren't touched, nobody touched you, it was no contact being made, it was a freak injury, non-contact type injury, which is what it was and what it means. You know when it's a non-contact type injury, you know that the outcome of that is more than likely not going to be good. And we prayed for the best, we hope for the best, and Ronald did tell us that he think that he's okay. And obviously later that night when they did the MRI, it confirmed a torn ACL in Ronald Acuna Jr.'s left knee. So this is the second time he's tore his ACL in 3 years. Keep in mind, the last time he tore his ACL in 2021, everybody thought we were done. Everybody counted us out, and we went on and acquired Jock Peterson. We had Adam Duvall. We had Eddie Rosario. We got those guys, and we went and we won a World Series in that year. And those are the same kind of vibes that I see fans relating that to here. Obviously, it's 3 years later, and obviously it's a different season. And obviously, we're trying to make the playoffs, and we're still in good shape to do that. Obviously, it sucks when you lose a guy that just won MVP for you last year and who puts up all-star numbers every year. Obviously, it sucks when you have a guy that plays as hard as Ronald Acuna Jr. does, a guy that's dedicated, a guy that loves to play the game of baseball, a guy that's going to take no off days. He's not going to ask out of the lineup. He's not going to ask for a rest. He's going to play all 162 games if he can, and that's mostly what he really does play, because if you know Snit puts those guys out there every single day if you know Snit. But with that being said, Snit does not force those guys to play. Those guys want to play all 162, and most of them do. Austin Riley, Arcia, Ozzie, Matt Olson, Money Mike, Ronald Acuna Jr., all those guys, they usually do play above 160, above 159 every year. The thing about this that really sucks is, as Ronald Acuna Jr. went down, we were getting healthy. We had Austin Riley, who just came back the day after Ronald Acuna Jr. goes down. We had Sean Murphy come back the day after Ronald Acuna Jr. goes down. So we get two guys back in our lineup And then we have a guy that's a huge part of what we do. He's out for the rest of the season. Just like the Spencer Strider injury earlier in the year, we just gonna have to keep on doing what we doing and keep on chugging along without those guys, like every other team does in the league. One thing about this is nobody felt bad when Spencer Strider went down. Nobody felt bad in 2021 when Ronald Acuna Jr. went down, and nobody's gonna feel sorry for us now. Nobody's gonna nobody's gonna nobody's gonna throw tears. Nobody gonna be crying. It ain't gonna be none of that. And we ain't finna start crying either. Ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for us. One thing about it in sports, when somebody's injured, it's next man up, and you got to keep on plugging, and you got to keep on chugging along, and that's exactly what we gonna do, and that's exactly what we did in 2021. We kept on chugging along without Ronald, and we won a World Series. It's the same vibes in 2024. We gonna accomplish this again, and if you count us out, you might want to reconsider, because you're gonna be wrong to do that. Obviously, when Spencer Strider went down, all hell broke loose. And we like, what we going to do now? Well, we still have a good pitching staff. We still have a great pitching staff. Max Fried, his first 2 starts of the season was very concerning, but he has come around like we know Max do. We know that Mad Max is an ace, and we know when Max gets mad, he pitches his best. His last 2 starts, he has not allowed a run. He pitched against the Chicago Cubs. He pitched a complete game. Last night against the Washington Nationals, he went 8 innings of 7 hit ball, and he went 8 innings. So Max is going deep into games. He has not allowed a run in his last 2 starts. Max is right where he needs to be. He's 5-2 on the year with a 2.97 ERA. That means earned run average and run score. So Mad Max is right where he needs to be at the top of the rotation. And right behind him is Chris Sale. Chris Sale has always been good. Obviously, over the last few years, Chris Sale has been hampered by injury. But when he got here, the training staff and pitching coach Rick Kranitz made a plan for him, just things that he could do for him to stay healthy. And, this is the first time in I think a few years that Chris Sale actually had an offseason where he wasn't rehabbing the injury, where he was able to have a normal offseason. So that's what's helping him a lot too. Chris Sale is 8-1 on the year. He has a 2.12 ERA. And I think he's won his last 7 starts. He's 8-1. So I think he's won his last 7 starts. He was lights out this past weekend against the Pittsburgh Pirates. He got us to avoid the sweep, because if we don't win that game on Sunday that Chris Sale pitches, we get swept out of Pittsburgh. He saved us from that at least. So he's been phenomenal. Ronaldo Lopez, who pitched out the bullpen in the last couple of years, is back in the starting role. He's 2-2 with a 1.75 ERA. So he's been lights out as he makes his return to the rotation. Those are our 3 guys. Number 4, Charlie Morton's 3-2 with a 4.29 ERA. Now the last 2 starts, and I think it's 3, but definitely the last 2 starts, Charlie has not been as sharp as we have known him to be. So the last 2 or 3 starts, he has not been the Charlie Morton, but the 3 starts before that, he's been lights out. So we hope to get back to that Charlie from the past 3 starts before these other 3 starts that he's made. We hope that Charlie gets back to where he needs to be. Obviously he's been struggling with command, and if he is in the zone on 0-2 pitches, like an 0-2 pitch, he's throwing a ball right down the middle instead of throwing it in the dirt. So it's things like that. No location, bad location, or either just not in the zone, in the strike zone at all. It's 1 and 2 with Charlie. So when Charlie gets back to where he needs to be, which we know he will, this rotation is going to be phenomenal, as it already is. Obviously, we're looking for a 5th starter. I don't know if we go out and get somebody. I don't know if we keep it in-house right now, which we have kept it in-house, but Bryce Elder came back up, and he was not good at all. Let's keep it all the way honest. He was not good at all. They're trying out Ray Kerr for starting pitcher role, and he started Friday against Pittsburgh, and he was rocky to say the least. But once he kind of settled into the game, he was okay, but he was still rocky. So we're juggling with that fifth spot. Obviously, we had a rookie pitcher starting tonight, and we're still 31-21. We're still 10 games above 500. The Phillies have lost 3 in a row recently, so we're only 5 games back of the Phillies, and we're playing the Washington Nationals on this homestand, and we're playing the Oakland A's on this homestand. That's 2 teams we should beat. That included the Pittsburgh Pirates, who we just avoided getting swept against. The one thing that frustrates me is the teams above 500 that you think that we wouldn't beat, we always beat. But the teams that below 500, way below 500, that you think that, oh, it should be easy and we should beat, we're not taking care of business. And that's one thing that frustrated me against Pittsburgh. We let Pittsburgh take 2 out of 1 instead of trying to take 2 out of 1 or possibly sweeping them. When you playing below 500 teams, the teams you're supposed to beat, you got to get those games, because in the end, when you look back on it in the division, you were like, God dog it. If we would have won those games against teams we were supposed to beat, we would be in better position for this division. We could have won this division. So when we're playing teams like Pittsburgh, or we're playing teams like Washington on this homestand, and the Oakland A's coming in after the Nationals on this homestand, it's like, God dog it. We got to beat those teams. Those are the teams we have to beat. That's what frustrates me. We don't beat the teams that we should be beating. So once we're good against teams below 500, but it's just we had a little lapses here and there. Like, hey man, come on, we supposed to beat these people. One concerning thing is our offense has not been great at all this year. Obviously, we missed Sean Murphy. We missed Austin Riley, and those are 2 key pieces to what we do. Obviously, when you're missing those 2 guys, your lineup's going to kind of, not produce like the way it should produce. But we also have other guys in our lineup that can get it done that have been struggling. So we need to get Austin Riley going. Obviously, before Austin Riley's side strain, he was struggling. Matt Olson was struggling. Ronald Acuna Jr., when he was playing, he was struggling. So we had guys that were struggling in this lineup, especially our key guys. We get Austin Riley back. We get Sean Murphy back. We lose Ronald Acuna Jr. Our offense should be able to flourish now, but we're looking for a leadoff hitter. Game 1 against Washington, we went with Ozzie as the leadoff hitter. Game 2 last night against Washington, we went with Money Mike as the leadoff hitter. So we're juggling to find a leadoff hitter. With those 2 guys coming back, hopefully our offense gets going. Obviously, we only scored 2 runs last night, and that was on a Marcell Ozuna homer and I think a Matt Olson. No, not a Matt Olson. I think I forget who had the sacrifice fly last night. But our other run was via a sacrifice fly. We ended up winning 2-0 as Mad Max, as I mentioned, Max Fried pitched great last night. And we only scored 2 runs. That was enough, but that's what I'm talking about right there. Our offense has not put up the runs that we expected to put up. And last year, we were spoiled because we had such a historic offense. We broke a lot of offensive categories, a lot of offensive records last season. We were spoiled last season. So that's why we like, where is the offense? Why is it not coming along like it did last year? But like I said, when you have 2 guys missing, that does a lot for your lineup. And that can cause your lineup to struggle. Our pitching is phenomenal. That's one thing I worry about is our pitching. Our pitching is phenomenal. Our pitching is better than our offense. And that's what's the crazy thing about it is you expect it to be in between equal, but our pitching is better than our offense. One thing about it, I don't worry about our offense. I worry about our pitching. Maybe it needs to be the other way around. I need to worry about our offense instead of worrying about our pitching. Marcell Ozuna, he struggled last year in the first 2 months of the season. This year, from March 28th or whatever the opening day date was, March 28th or whatever the date was, to May 28th, Marcell Ozuna has had it going all year long. Marcell's hitting .309 with 16 homers and 48 RBIs. we would not be where we're at, 10 games over 500, if Marcell Ozuna is struggling the first 2 months of the season like he did last year. If he did not start off hot from March to where we're at today, currently in May, we would not be where we're at without Marcell Ozuna. And we know Marcel's story of getting all the criticism when he was struggling and all the off the field issues that he had going on. We know all the criticism the Braves took from that, and they stuck by Marcell, and Marcel's past that now. And look what he's doing on the field. He's carrying us offensively. He's been doing it all young season so far. So you need to give Marcell Ozuna his flowers right now, because without him, we would not be where the heck we at without him. So, like I said, the Phillies have lost 3 straight. We're 5 games back. We're playing teams on this homestand that we should beat that's below 500. So we should be able to gain some ground. Ronald Acuna Jr. being out for the rest of the year and probably the beginning of next year, it's not something that I wanted to come over here and talk about. It's being a fan of this ball club, it's one of your worst fears that you have to face that reality that Ronald Acuna Jr. tore his ACL again. But the thing about it is, he came back the first time, and he was able to win MVP off of it. I have no doubt and no question in mind that this second time, he's going to do phenomenal things like he never left when he comes back. He's still young. He's a superstar. You just hate that he has to go through what he has to go through. He's been through a lot. The kid is a good kid, and he's going to be back. Spencer Strider is going to be back next year. We have not seen all we needed to see from Spencer Strider. He's going to be back next year too. Fully healthy, stronger than he was before this injury, and they are going to be back. It's nothing to worry about, Braves country. Those guys are going to be back. We're going to be fine. We're going to accomplish our goals that we set to accomplish during spring training. We're going to accomplish that. It's nothing to be worried about. We're okay. We're fine. We're going to take it one day at a time. And we ain't going to do no crying. We ain't going to make no excuses. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. It's going to be okay. We good. We A-Town. We good. We got it. Ain't nothing to be worried about. Basketball coverage. Ant-Man and the Timberwolves, they avoid being swept. They go back home for Game 5, and I will try to have that for you guys this week or possibly next week. But at least the Minnesota Timberwolves avoided the sweep. Cat, you need to play better. You had a better Game 4. You need to have a good Game 5. But with that being said, the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals, and they're waiting on the conclusion of this series to see who they will face. But that's all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, the Atlanta Braves are fine. We're going to live. We're okay.